So this is the questions and answers session. And one more thing before I take the first question. I would encourage, there is a beauty in learning as a group, there's always benefit of working and learning with others, with having a learning buddy or a friend, or if you don't have somebody who you could go back and forth and what you discovered. In each of the session of our learning platform, there is a section for comments. Often people use it to ask me questions, but you don't have to ask me questions. You could say, I found this was working, and keep reading others, because some people will find something. You can learn from others. You can learn not only from a teacher or one-on-one sessions, but by being in the process with others. There is a great value in it. Unfortunately, during the times of COVID, this was butchered with our social way of learning. And we need to recognize that aspect is super important. Like if you try to meditate by yourself, it's one thing. But when you're sitting with 1,000 people, when I attended Thich Nhat Hanh's meetings, when there were 1,000 people sitting silently next to me, there is such a powerful experience that it's just not little me self practicing my little meditation or breathing within my own small place physically, but this larger experience. So that applies in training, in sports training. There's one thing you're just working on your own, but the other thing, you have your body that challenges you or helps you or even jokes with you during the process of learning. That's super important. So in the learning platform, please be generous with your comments. Not only thank yous or whatever, but what you are finding, what you're learning. I found my edge of the foot to be very important. Write it down. Others will read it, will have a chance to test it, feel it. Also, it will give me ideas, because there may be some people that struggle consistently, and you can share that struggle too. So from session to session, I could come up with some other recordings or tools to make this program even more beneficial. All right, Jan J, you're first. Please unmute yourself.
Hi, Jan Joy.
Jan Joy.
I've always had, well, not always, but in the recent past, I'm aware that my upper body is where I'm not sure where it's supposed to be when I roll over. What we did today, I mean, I did identify with the body arching at certain points, and when I stopped it from arching, it was better. And actually the shoulder on this side, which sometimes raises up, has gone down, so that's good.
Lovely.
I have some kyphosis, so that's probably, I'm just wondering if that's going to be addressed at any point in your lessons.
Yeah, of course. Even with this thing of hand on the knee, if you were to slow it down, because you see, everything is so rich. I could spend 5 weeks on rolling, really. Yeah. And it could be super meaningful, because there's so many aspects of it, and tweaking it. And so in the session, we did it quite short. You had the one hand on the knee. You could start to move the knee a little bit down, come back, and feel how that pulls on your shoulder. Then move the knee to the side, not down. Feel how that will take the shoulder. So shoulder blade will start to roll, lift. And you take an element of this and spend some time with it. That could be super beneficial. For you, I would say probably it would be nice to put hands on the breastbone. And when we did all these, so let's say you repeat that session and you recognize that your chest, your upper body was a little bit sluggish in that process. You have your knee bent, and while you're bending the knee, you're pressing gently with your hands on the breastbone, inviting. But again, don't make it into a goal, like, oh, I'm gonna move you, breastbone. You don't want to move it, I'm gonna move you, because that's tug of war. That's wrestling with yourself. You never win. It's a lose-lose proposition. What you do is you dance with it. You go, oh, look how you're moving. Oh, just a millimeter. Fantastic. Come back. Oh, half a millimeter. Gorgeous. Ah. And then go a little lower. Go a little lower. Go a little lower. In the recording that I did, there was one more section that I didn't do today, something called rolling to the side through the elbow, where you put your arm in front of you, straight in front of you, and you start to reach diagonal. So when you watch the video, check that. Make sure you don't miss it.
Great, thank you.
Sure, you're welcome. Emma, you're next.
Hi, thank you. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Good to see you again. I've not learnt with you for ages. It's fun. Yeah, so like I was aware that I hold my breath when I do everything. I really noticed that like I hold my breath, so then I kind of push from the back ribs. So the back ribs kind of tighten. I guess I've inflated the lungs at that point, haven't I? Like the airbed that you were talking about. And then I'm just holding my breath as I move. And then my breath just kind of stuck. And I'm just finding it really hard to get past that, allowing the breath to be free, which sounds crazy because
no, it's super profound. It's super profound. It's not crazy. It's not silly. In some way, it's trivial. I agree. But the essence of our improvement is in these trivial things. Dr. Feldenkrais wrote a book called Elusive Obvious. This kind of thing, elusive obvious. Don't hold your breath, right? But yeah, how do you do that? It's just like saying somebody who's biting nails, don't bite your nails. That's not going to help. Somebody who's tense and anxious, don't be anxious, relax. It doesn't work like that. But there are tools. So, for example, and that will be for Janjoy too, you could lie with both knees bent and bring both knees to chest, hug your knees with both hands. And instead of thinking of the whole process of rolling all the way to the side, you just open the knee a little bit and you come back. And open the knee a little bit and come back. And go very slowly. And first, don't do anything about the breath. You just go so slowly that sooner or later, it will start to match with some sort of breathing pattern. It might be inhalation or it might be exhalation. But if you go slow enough, then you will find that the action and breath start to match together. The problem is that in our modern world, we often rush, we go fast. And when you go fast, you cannot match with the slow, quiet out breath. So I would recommend that for you, Emma, to both knees to chest, holding on, and like a baby, little to the side, come back, then a little bit to the other side, but going so slow and so kind of meditative that you could fall asleep, and then you listen to breath. Then you do it while intentionally inhaling and then intentionally exhaling to find out which will work better. For most people, the better will be to actually exhalation again, out breath. But this to discover for yourself.
Okay, sounds good.
Great.
Thank you. And just one more really quick question too. It might be really useful for everyone. So the back of the neck is shortening in me. So are we keeping the back of the neck kind of long? So it's
when you roll to your side, the head needs to turn. If I do this, then it will limit my ability to turn. So if you find that's the difficulty, maybe putting some towel or pillow, because it's possible that as the chest is rolling, you need some support for the head. Otherwise, the head is dragging behind and shortening the neck. So little pillow. Other thing is what I think I alluded, put hands behind and see if you could bring your hands on the head and turn the whole chest and head together. So we don't do that. That's a great question.
Thank you very much. Very
You're
helpful.
welcome. Suknam, you're next.
Hi, I'm fairly new to Feldenkrais, and I'm still not sure how when you do these exercises, how does your brain register which one is better and like allow you to keep doing it? Like, because, I do the physical therapy exercises, I do different exercises. So how does brain know, or how can I teach my brain
Well,
what is the best?
it's always, brain always learns by repetition. It's every night when we sleep, the brain is busy at work processing the activities of the previous day. Things that get repeated get solidified in your nervous system. Things that are just happening sporadically here and there get washed out. It's like kind of like sponged out. So that's what brain does. And therefore, repetition, we have to be realistic. You need to spend some time doing it. But the first part of your question was, how do you know which was better? Because you may not feel differences. And that's very common at the beginning of the process. I can't tell you how long it took me to do movements and not being able to tell which one is better. If inhaling is better or exhaling is better. If moving head together or keeping it still is better. For that, all you need to do is, even if you don't know, you do one variation, second variation, third variation, go back to first variation, done. Your brain did the work for you. Eventually you will start to recognize, oh, that is better. At least try from a lesson to find one thing that you could feel a difference. And contrast. Often I would use those purposeful mistakes. So I hope that you could feel it when your hamstring was about to cramp, that's not better, right? Doesn't feel bad when I'm starting to wrestle with myself. So we had to magnify the difference to be that obvious. Eventually you want to, which is happening with all kind of learning. Like musicians could just play one way and the other way, I wouldn't hear. And for them, it's like, oh, obvious. Can't you hear it? Not because I'm not at your level yet, right? But if you train anything, if you're an athlete, you can make such a small difference that for others will be like, I don't know what he's even talking about. So that's normal. Just go from contrasting something really different, something slightly different. Oh, I don't know if I feel that difference. Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And repetition. That's why you have hopefully another, I don't know, 20,000 times or 100,000 times you will roll out of bed. And if you roll it every night, every day this way, and every day looking simpler, I guarantee you it will get better.
Okay.
You cannot fail. You cannot fail. It's only problematic. We wake up, we rushed, we already worried about something. Oh my God, I have a big day, and we push. So for that, we need to stop. We have to have a reminder. Before I go to bed, I do it 3 times. Next morning, oh, I forgot to do it. Okay, make up for it. 3 movements only every day. You'll get better.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll check the chat for some question. Using the legs to move the pelvis is so much easier if the legs are bent. Great. Thank you, Jillian. So she was referring to the difference between having both legs long and initiating that roll of the leg and frog leg turning to bend the knees. Yes, it takes a little bit more until the legs are close to the body, close to the center of rotation where the rolling can get easier. So when we had bent knees, either bringing knee to chest and flipping them to the side or edges to the feet made a difference for Jillian. So great. Things like this, things like what you just wrote, please write in the comments so we can read, we can look, we can learn from each other. Anybody else with a question, or we wrap it up?
That's it.
Marilyn, please unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you very much. I've got a question. If I did the rolling and did the setup really well, and now I'm thinking, am I going to just scramble and, lurch my way up, stand? Will you be covering going from the floor to standing?
We will do more. It will get better by more practice from sitting to standing that we will be including on every session. And the feeling may be that you get so relaxed that you feel like, oh, I won't be able to get my normal power that I usually associate with effort tightness. Again, worry not. We were not about to just get relaxed and so non-functional, but actually how to use the contractions efficiently and effectively. And yes, so I will note that you want to learn how to get up from the floor up. Maybe we'll spend some time on that too.
Thank you very much.
But look also for how you do anything is how you do everything. So the messages, the improvements that you've experienced just through half rolling, you could take it to half getting up from a chair, half getting up from the floor, to jumping. By what? By stopping yourself and observing, what am I doing while I'm getting up from the floor? Oh, I clench my teeth every time. Okay, here's the material for you to work. Or where is my foot? If my foot is too far away and I'm trying to get myself, I don't have my footing underneath me. Maybe by bringing the foot here and there, which one gives me best power so I can just minimum effort and I raise up. Good, Rachel. And then Rowan. Rachel, you need to mute yourself because you're muted, Rachel.
Ah, got it. Okay.
There you go.
So one from the beginning of the lesson, one from the end. So I noticed differences in turning to the right and the left in the very beginning. And I'm thinking that it wasn't about the hips, it was more about the thoracic spine and the ribs that were making a difference to me. So that makes sense?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And
But that's not a question yet. You've made a statement. Yeah.
Right. So, but I was confused because I was thinking that.
Oh, you were thinking that I was mentioning pelvis so much, tilting the knee, and then, but you see, this is beautiful. Thank you, Rachel. Because yes, when you open the knee to the side or you push with the foot, you're rolling the pelvis. But that doesn't mean that it's the pelvis that makes a difference, because for the pelvis to be able to roll, you have to have a freer chest. For many of us, and I think this is the first question where a person said that somewhere about the upper back was not in shape yet or wanted to have more tools. That's exactly it. You push with the foot and you observe how light is my pelvis, and how can you make that pelvis lighter? Not only by searching it within the pelvis, but you look, does my head start to roll? Do my eyes move when my hip lifts? Again, with the breastbone I mentioned before, rolling the ribs, inviting them go to the right, breastbone, shoulder blade. So you step on the foot, and if there is no resistance in the middle back, the pelvis will just fly. It will be flowing. Simple. Yeah.
Okay. So it makes sense. Good. Okay. The end of the lesson, if you have time, I might have mixed up the directions. At the very end, when we were one knee, were we holding the kneecap with the opposite knee?
Opposite hand. Opposite hand. You had your left hand on the right knee. Moving the right knee to the right side was peeling your left shoulder off the floor, and you were rolling to the right.
Okay.
But again, for somebody, I didn't include that, but for somebody may have a problem with the arm moving across the body. You could have the same hand on the same knee, left on left, and open to the left. It won't have the same effect that diagonal, which was peeling your opposite shoulder blade. But still, for somebody, it may be great nugget of information with the same hand on the same knee and going to the side. The point is listening, ability to pay attention, to listen, to notice, to process, not some magical, which is good exercise for X. Yeah. As many as you hear, for each one of you, there is a different place in the body that you would benefit great deal from discovering, from employing, and different part of the body that works a little too hard, which will be better to like soften out. Don't do it. Like my jaw with my rolling up. Soften up, jaw. You're not going to help me roll over. And practicing with that. But each one of us will have a different place. And there is no one ultimate exercise that will teach us all. We have to have many variations, and then we can learn.
Thank you.
Rohan, you're next.
Yeah, hi, Merrick. How are you
Hello. Doing
I'm having a challenge.
yeah.
I am a Feldenkrais practitioner,
Mhm.
graduated in 98,
Mhm.
2002, and with Mark. And I had hip surgery where 4 years ago, where my surgeon decided to lengthen my shorter leg and make it even with my right. But it has messed up my scoliosis in my back so unbelievably that for the first several years, I couldn't feel and sense anything. I didn't know where I was in space.
I bet.
Yeah, so it's been quite a challenge. And now the pain is better under control, but I still suffer with pain and neuropathy in that whole left side every day.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to rework myself and I do my lessons, but everything is such a challenge because it's like I'm re-educating my new brain in my new position and nothing feels like my life and I've been trained. Do you have any suggestions?
I had a similar sensation after my knee surgery. I had a ACL reconstruction, anterior cruciate ligament reconstruction, and it was funny because I injured my knee long ago, and then I played basketball, and I learned to how to function with the knee without the ligament, which was quite challenging. Many small injuries, re-injuries, bigger injuries, re-injuries. Finally, I learned how to function quite well for 7 years, even play high kind of demand basketball game and other sports. But my knee was lacking, and it got to the point that I felt like it was going nowhere, so I decided to have a surgery for that. After the surgery, I felt both better and worse. I felt better because the knee wasn't lacking anymore, but I felt like this is not my knee. This is not the knee that I knew. It felt stiffer, it felt weirder, it felt like I didn't belong. And I was also afraid not to re-injure that. Before, with my quote unquote bad knee, I felt like I know how to operate that. It's not perfect, it's lax, it does this and that, but I know how to unlock it. I knew where it was. It took good few years for me to relearn with that new sensation, and it wasn't a replacement. So for you, it's much more significant than just putting a little ligament there. But I think that's what I'm excited with this like simple program that I think you will find it beneficial. And what I would suggest is a private session for when you have specific trouble. Then like having one-on-one session with a practitioner or with somebody who could guide you through which lessons what will make the biggest impact for you. So if you have the means for individual sessions, I would definitely suggest that.
Okay, thank you, Marek.
You're welcome. All right, gang. Thank you so much. Beautiful first day. And we are going to check, please upload this lesson to our learning platform. It usually takes several hours to get it, so you can check it later on tonight. And also you will get the notification that the new video is uploaded when we upload that little 13-minute program for you to redo. Other than that, I'll see you next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mary. Off and running.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Bye.